Hey guys, I'm at the Morgan Library Museum with my brother, and my brother's girlfriend. And right now I'm gonna head in to see the Menor drawings. Hopefully I didn't mispronounce his name.
What is the average price? Mid to late April. Like the 20th, something like that. Can we stay the night?
These are some of the drawings I saw so far right now. These are probably some books that he probably made or collected. I'm not sure entirely, but here are some of the books that are here. And this is just like the seating area of when you go into the gallery part. I'm gonna go into the part 1 section. Was it Paul Cézanne, 1880. Sorry if I pronounced these guys' names wrong. I mean, he's a French artist, so I mean. This is some information paper about the artist and his drawings. These are some of his drawings in the part 1 section of the exhibit, I think you call it. Just ignore my shadow in the video. Some figure drawing he did. Richelieu, Mercury. See some sort of a Greek figure, I think. I'm not sure. Oh, sorry. More of his sketches. And if you're wondering why the video is a lot more clearer, is because before New Year's I got a new phone. And plus it has a lot of storage. My mom is in the gray shirt, white pants, and orange backpack. Also, apparently, this is one of his famous paintings that he made. Oh, little baby. Oh, it's mama. Oh, the baby's adorable. That is one chubby little baby.
Yes. And then you're like, yes. Yes.
No, I like this drawing. It has a lot of color to it. Looks like it's made on a napkin or something. Might be completely wrong on that, but watercolor over graphite. This is something to do with some sort of church, I guess. Looks cool, I guess. I'm not sure if that building's actually still there. It's probably the building's probably long gone, so. Probably a sketch that he didn't finish. A lot of female anatomy drawings that he drew, apparently. And I hope you guys are not squeamish of seeing these kind of drawings.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, get the information.
Brother's sitting in his chemotherapy appointment, so this would have been nice for them to see.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope he gets better though. That's pretty much part one of Renard's exhibit. Probably missed some things. I probably will obviously put in this video more. So hope you start. And I hope you like this vlog so far. Ooh, a nature one. Here's me going into part 2 of the Renard gallery thing. Ooh, sculptures. He also did sculptures? That's cool. Looks like someone giving another person an apple or something. Eh. Some old man, I don't know. Portrait of Casmelio Pissarro? That's probably this guy. I think so. And head of a young girl, ca 1900s, is probably this one. It's all jolly. Hey, August Rodin. Hey, picture of August Rodin. My art teacher's crazy about him. I mean, that's his like favorite artist. I'm surprised. I wonder if Renoir met August Rodin in his life. Not sure. They maybe have. That's probably that painting. I mean, so far this museum looks cool. So it's in New York. So if you wanna come here, just look up the museum's name and come here. Yeah, the floor is a little creaky. I like these paintings. I wonder how long it took for him to do it. Not painting, drawing. Edmond Renoir holding an orange. Is this one of his kids? Maybe? He has the same middle name, so I'm assuming that's his daughter. And I don't really know anything about the artist, so maybe. Oh, a little baby and his mom playing together. That's adorable. Called Gabriella and Jane. It's this one. And the same one, but in like paint. Playing with dough, I guess. Like cooking dough, I guess. This looks like oil painting. Yep, oil on canvas. I guessed it right. Another baby and his mom named Jeans and Arms of Gabriella. And then here's like the oil canvas version. Also, if you see a random jump cut to other parts of the video, it's because I want to save the length of the video for the first part of the first gallery that I'm in, and I don't want to bore you guys. So, just an FYI. I mean, who knows? This might be the longest video I upload on my YouTube channel. Who knows? And I think these are all the drawings I've seen in the Renoir section of the museum. I mean, I'm obviously going to record more parts of it later if I see anything more interesting. Hey guys, I'm going into the J. Peter Point Morgan Library part of the museum. Dang, this looks cool. This looks like some sort of place that a king would chill at, or a president. It has that old thing smell. The vault, the West Room vault. Huh, a vault of books. More books up there. Neat, I guess. These are the cool looking fancy chairs that they have in this room. Don't know what year these chairs are from, but probably really old. I wonder what's in that box. Probably not allowed to open it, but you know. Oops, sorry. Some plates, sculpture, paintings. Oh, it's called the West Room Cedar Point Walk Study. It's a cool looking vase. And also, if the vlog about me being at the Margarine Library Museum is a bit short, it's probably because either this museum doesn't have a lot of stuff, or I didn't feel like filming more stuff to do with this museum. Look at the ceiling and the chandelier. This is like a tomb or something? This looks like a room you'd see at the Capitol building in DC. I mean, these are probably cursive. Freedom Papers. I mean, no wonder they made it look like the Soli Dio Honor Allegoria? Okay. The Brits versus I think this is like Revolutionary War, the bloody massacre that started the war, I think. It's been a while since I've been looking up on my history. In the House of Representatives, September 17th, 1776. Is that Egyptian, like something to do with King Tut, and was that isn't that Osiris, the god of the underworld in Egypt? I think so. Oh, got it right. Osiris.
Descendants come and visit with regard to descendants. The actual descendants from Morgan to this family they have been through.
Oh, at that time?
No,
Or
now.
Now, oh, okay, yeah, yeah, let me talk about that when everybody gets in the room. Certainly at that time, when the kids playing all over the lions and everything else, so I'll tell about that, but even now. Okay, so quick question that came up before we start, just wanted to cover it. The question is, what role do any, if any, of Jacob Morgan's descendants have in Morgan today? And they are, Charles Morgan is a member emeritus on the board of trustees. We just had a young fellow join, who was Morgan's great-great-granddaughter, who just joined, that group of people who influenced Morgan. So, yeah, they're definitely descendants who still play a role. Peter Knoyer was architect in New York, also a descendant of Morgan, is on the board of trustees, so, yeah, they still keep it active, which is kind of nice. Okay, this smallish room, although if you were above the Costa Green and you were in your twenties and you would just come to work for JP Morgan in 1905, and this turned out to be your office, I think you might be a little overwhelmed. So this was Belva Costa Green's office. And for those of you who've read the book, I just want to say a few things. For those of you who haven't read the book is a fictionalized, historical fiction account of the life of our first director, Belva Costa Green. She came to work for Morgan on the recommendation of his nephew, as I mentioned earlier, and she quickly organized things with that. Today, she became director of the Morgan when it became a public institution in 1924. She was the first director, and she remained director until 1948. She stayed in touch, consulting to the Morgan for a year in 1949, and in 1950 she passed away. So her entire life was this institution. She kind of sparked the American imagination by the fact that in those days, in the early 1900s, she was an African-American woman who was quote-unquote passing as white.
Yeah.
And her whole life, although she came from an extraordinarily accomplished family, her father was the first African-American graduate of Harvard, he became the dean of the Howard University Law School, her mother was an accomplished musician, and she was a music teacher. She came from an incredible family, but she was passing as white for her entire career. But also very important is the fact that she was the soul of this institution and still is. Because all of the innovative and wonderful things that she initiated, that museums never did, libraries never did, we still do today. So I mentioned earlier, we have an auditorium downstairs, the panel discussions, the lectures, the musical events, she organized things like that. Exhibitions, libraries didn't have exhibitions when she started. She started exhibitions and she actually managed over 40 of them during her lifetime. So she started that. She welcomed children, we have an education center, and she welcomed children into the institution to familiarize them with museum quality objects, and particularly the objects of this room. So, she made us what we are today. We say a prayer to the Costa Green every morning, so. This was her office. But when we did this renovation that I was talking about earlier, it had been closed to the public. We opened it up and we installed around the room objects which represent the oldest part of the Morgan collection. And those are Mesopotamian cylinder seals. So quite a mouthful there. Mesopotamia, ancient times, present day Iraq, between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, and a floodplain. We're talking about 3000 BC, 3500 BC, that period of time. So it was a floodplain, agrarian, but the trade routes were developed, and the farmers liked what they saw. And they had products that they could trade for some of these wonderful things that were passing through, but they had no way to identify themselves. And this notion of cylinder seal arose. We don't know how, we don't know who, we don't know when, but a cylinder, a little piece of stone, the size of a AAA battery in most cases, even smaller. Stone, onyx, hematite, lapis, all kinds of different stones, carved in the negative, carved into them. So that if you took this little round stone, this little cylinder stone, and you rolled it on wet mud or wet clay, it would create a continuous impression. So if the farmers put their crops in barrels, like barley, grapes, onions, and turnips in barrels, sealed it with mud, and rolled the cylinder around the edge, they would get a continuous impression that identified them, because it was one seal per person. The seals were completely unique. There were no two seals alike. Would identify them, and would also ensure the integrity of the contents, because it was a continuous seal. So that's how it got its name, cylinder seal, and Mesopotamia from where it comes from. And we won't have time to go around and look at all of them, although it's well worth your time. Come back, please, to this room. They're chronologically organized. They start around 3500 BC with very, very simple themes, animals, insects, and just design. And what you see as you go through the millennia are, well, it's really the development of art. It's art coming into being. It's the beginning of themes of order versus chaos, and man versus animal, and you start seeing people's faces, and you start seeing musculature, and you start seeing expressions, and then you start seeing writing being introduced to the seals themselves, as well as to those tablets, which we'll talk about in a second. But you just go around, and then you just have to be in awe of the size of these little things and the images that they create, because in each case, the curator has rolled out the seal on a piece of plasticine, so you can see how it looks in its actual size, and below that it's blown up, and on the bottom of each case is a big blow-up of one of the important seals in that case. So you can actually look and see the detail that's been carved into this tiny little thing. They were considered amulets, they were considered good health ornaments, good luck ornaments. They were worn on people's clothing. Wealthy people, scribes, and heads of the church, and farmers, and they were one of the ones who had them. But they were buried with them in the tombs. So although they date from 3500 BC, they weren't known until the middle of the 19th century when they started excavating the tombs when they found them. Other than that, no one had to know that these things even existed. So some of them are just unbelievable, the expressions that they carved into those little things. So do come back, check out the tablets. Morgan collected over 3,000 tablets. There are 14 left. The rest of them, if you want to see them, head up to Yale University. Because Morgan's family, which had very deep roots in Connecticut, gave all the rest of the tablets to Yale, which formed this organization called the Yale Babylonian Collection, where they do research and studying into these tablets. They're written in many different languages, Sumerian, Akkadian. They tell stories, they're mathematical ones, and they're just an incredible collection of these early tablets that are fascinating. Okay, any questions before we leave this room?
George Washington's face. Surprised how someone got a cast of it. It's probably really old. Apparently this is what George Washington actually looked like in life. And my mom says this is like the highlight of the museum. I just see how big it is. Wow, it's big. Ooh, has that old book smell. This library is big. Jeez, people back in the day went all out on libraries. Like, the video doesn't do the room justice, but like, you should come and see it for yourself. And this might be the last part of the video while I'm in this museum. The Morgan Library Museum part. It's a cool looking painting, whatever that is. Campfire and stuff. If I go to another museum, I'll obviously film it and put it in a video. If I have time. Because I got other stuff to do, like my art class and stuff. These books are probably 27,410. Probably really old, but I'm not sure how old, but inclusive. This is the statue of Saint Elizabeth of German Ilum Sawabi in the early 16th century. Not sure if I pronounced it right, but there she is. That's a cool looking book cover. Not gonna lie, it looks like you'd probably find some like ancient secrets or ancient secrets. It looks like a book you'd find in a magical fantasy thing, but you know, it's real. Looks cool. There's the cast of her face. More books. It's pretty big. There's my brother and my brother's girlfriend. Christmas book. Wait, haven't I seen this before online? I think I have. Not sure. Library of Alexandria? Probably not, but. Music. I mean, for any music nerds in the for any music nerds that might be watching this, not sure if this is actually playable via instrument or not, but looks cool. That's a pretty big book.